Hi, I hope you're having a good day today and are ready to spend a little time looking at some slurring exercises in the Arban book. So we're in the slurring and legato playing section of the book. I'm on page 46 in my edition, and we're going to be looking at several related exercises, number 27, 28, maybe 29, 30. Those four exercises are require a very similar technique. They give you a little variety, and they're an extension of what we've already been doing. So whenever you encounter an obstacle in your progress, go back and make sure the foundational skill is there to build on. Now, a lot of times we're trying to play things that are higher, faster, and louder, and with more agility and greater skill. Oftentimes, especially many young players get into this syndrome because, you have to perform things in the school band, maybe in your jazz band. My situation was I was always playing beyond what my physical skill and ability was. And that's how we develop a lot of bad habits. So those of you who are a little bit more mature and have been playing the instrument for many years, we need to go back and make sure that those foundations are good. And I know I still carry a lot of bad habits from my youth that I'm still in the process of overcoming, which is, I'm old. So, that tells you something that this is a lifelong process. So I'm going to play a little bit of 27. Again, this is a little more extended one. But what's very simple about it is he's taking you through the various positions on the trumpet. So you start open. So it's open, second valve, and so on down through the 7 positions. In this case, I think he only goes to 6 positions, but you get the idea. Or if you don't, here it is. I'm going to play in the first position. This is number 27. And of course, I'd practice that to smooth it out, get it more refined, simpler, easier, get it to the point where I don't have to think about it. I can just listen and not be thinking about how I'm doing it on the trumpet. That's a very important thing. Actually, if you're a professional player, the goal is always to get to the point where you can be more connected with the people you're playing with, more free of thinking about your own stuff, and more involved in the whole experience of the making of the music without trying to pay attention to playing the trumpet. So this is how you get there, is to develop these skills. So I did it in the open position, first position, then I'm going to go to second. So it starts on the D sharp. So now I'm getting kind of choked. And this is something that most players are going to run into, is as I'm playing, I'm trying to control the notes. And actually it's just it's a little gesture of the air and everything else remains stable. But most players will find that they're actually trying to get those notes with their lip. They're trying to change their lip for every single note. And this is a quick gesture. You don't have that kind of, or most people, with the exception of a few individuals I've worked with, don't have that kind of speed in terms of their lip motion. So it's impossible to adjust separately for each note with the lip. It has to be one continuous motion. And that's done, as we were talking about before, with the tongue and the pharyngeal muscles in the top of the throat. So the next exercise, number 28, we're going to look at is exactly the same technique. And I'm probably going to stumble on this one because it changes all over the place and it's full of alternate fingerings and I'm not used to playing those and this is so frustrating. But if you slow it down, you can start to have fun with it. So I'm going to check the tempo on this. He recommends, and again, this is number 28, 96. So I'll play a little bit of it, and then I'll tell you a quick story from one of my colleagues that I played with many years ago in the Kansas City Philharmonic. Oops, I think I got that wrong. So at this point, I don't know this well enough in order to practice it. So if I were going to play this, if I'm going to practice it beneficially, I have to learn it first. And that means I'm going to spend time going through and hearing it in my mind and doing all the fingers without playing it on the trumpet at all. I might sing it, I might whistle it, but I'm not going to be trying to get the notes, because getting the notes is hard enough all by itself. So it's pretty obvious I don't know this well enough in order to demonstrate it for you effectively right now. So Steve, go back and practice. Okay, I think I'll do that after I'm done here. And what I'm working on is just the patterns, the finger patterns, which are unfamiliar because you're using a lot of alternate fingerings, and just getting the melodic line in my mind. Where I stumbled, it's a modulation. That doesn't quite fit in my ear yet, so I'm going to have to practice that. And then there's, as I said, the complication of the alternate fingerings. There's a couple that are really weird. Third line from the bottom in my edition, it goes 2 and 3. Oh, so there's all these alternate fingerings, 2 and 3 for E to C to E flat. And then back to 1 and 2, your normal fingering for the A, and then open on the C, which you could also play with 2 and 3, by the way, and then second valve on the E flat, which you just played with second and third. You see how your brain can get confused with this stuff? So one of the most important things you can do in your practicing is get the music in your mind and your ear before you go wasting trumpet energy to physically play it on the instrument. That's about the best advice I can give you. Practice mentally. We're going to be coming back to this a lot. So what I would do is, it's a discipline. Stop, and instead of just pounding through it, and yeah, it'd probably get a little bit better, I'd start to figure it out, but instead of wasting the physical energy, I'm going to be exercising my mind. Can I hear the notes? Am I doing all the patterns, the physical patterns, the articulation patterns, the slurring patterns that we've been talking about, am I doing those in my mind first? When you get it clear in your mind, your body will know what to do. And then your practice becomes much more effective. You're going to make progress much, much faster. So apply some of those ideas, and I'll try and practice what I preach as soon as I'm done making this video. Okay, we're going to look at number 29. But before that, I told you I was going to tell you a story, and I know you love stories, so it's a quick one. Steve Weger, who was principal trumpet of the Kansas City Philharmonic, and I realize it's now the Kansas City Symphony, this was back in the 70s, I played with the orchestra a lot. I was teaching at the University of Missouri in Kansas City at the time, and ended up playing with the orchestra a lot, and Steve kind of used me as his second trumpet player a lot, so we would talk. And he said, oh yeah, that exercise of the Arban, number 28, that's a Toyota exercise. And I said, well, what do you mean? I was pretty sure, but I wanted him to say it. He said, oh yeah, when you play that, you just say, Toyota, 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 T. So that goes back to one player imagining, oh yeah, this is kind of what I'm doing. Toyota, 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 but it's not Toyota, Toyota, Toyota. It's Toyota, Toyota, Toyota. it's different because you have to maintain airflow. But for Steve, it was like, oh, yeah, that's like saying Toyota. So that helped him to remember it. So don't think in terms of right and wrong. Think in terms of, oh yeah, that's like this, something that I already know, and then it helps your body to remember it. That's very, very helpful. Now in this next one, I might just survey these next two for you very quickly. Now we're starting to really move around more quickly and up and down through the range. Wow, it's all 1 and 3. Wow, that's weird. And this is another one. I haven't played it in a long, long time. I need to go back and look at this. These are great. Now, there's one editing mistake in this, which I want you to pick up on. I think if you have good ears, you'd hear it automatically. Third line from the bottom of number 29, in the third bar, I believe that's supposed to be the third 16th is supposed to be a F sharp, not an F natural, as it says, because if I play it, ooh, that's what's written, is an F natural. Sounds a little funky. So that's just one of those little details that I'm not very good at catching because I'm a horrible proofreader, so I'm glad I didn't have to edit the Arban book. You know, kudos to Mr. Hooten and Ms. Marotta for doing this, because it's a huge task. So there are bound to be a few mistakes here and there. Let's go ahead and look at number 30. And now we're getting into that lip trill thing again. I'll just give you one bit of advice. I would go back and play this slowly, and I would play it with single tongue articulation. And then I would play it with double tongue articulation, even though there are triplet patterns in it, and then I would play it with triple tongue articulation. So I'd be going, and trying to get it smooth and relaxed. Go back and forth between the slurring it and then tonguing it, and slurring it and then tonguing it until everything starts to let go and relax and your body is functioning comfortably and it starts to be fun. Then I raise the bar again a little bit. So now I'm going to try double tongue. Oh, I goofed up there. I went to a different kind of tonguing at the end. I put the K in the middle, ta-ka, ta-ta-ka, ta-ta. But what I did in the first set of triplets is ta-ka, 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 ta. So the tongue pattern doesn't even go with the triplet. So now like I said, I'm raising the bar. I'm making the level of difficulty higher to challenge myself for the purpose of seeing if I can maintain the good quality of sound production, the good quality of airflow and focus and support, the good quality of embouchure skill, while I'm doing these fancy tongue things that are not normal. They're not the thing I would normally do. And that's the value of using these kind of variations. But remember, lay down the foundation first, and then you're going to be a happy trumpet player. Don't get too far ahead of yourself. If you're adventurous like me, then go ahead and explore and have adventures. Some of them will not be pleasant, and then come back and heal up from your adventures and go and establish your routine so that you feel like everything is working, and then go ahead and go adventuring again. This is how we make progress. Okay, I hope that gives you enough to chew on today. And one of these exercises is another group that you could rotate one a day. So here you'd be playing one of these exercises every 4 days. That's just an easy way to kind of cover a lot of material and still be working on the same skills. So it keeps your mind fresh. Okay, thanks for patiently listening to me talk. And now go do something about it. I'll see you later on. Have a great day. Bye-bye.